Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.
Joining me today, Kidderminster Harriers women's team manager, Andy Fisher. Andy, it's been a busy month for you inside and outside of football. Before we get into football, can you just explain to us how your fundraiser for prostate cancer is coming along?
Yeah, hi John. It's going well. Obviously, there's a reason behind it. There's a cause. You tend to donate to these kind of things, don't you? You know, if you've got friends and family who put stuff on, but to kind of like actively be involved in something, you know, it comes from somewhere personal, and that's the case here. Obviously, you know, with prostate cancer, it's quite a big thing for men, and one of the biggest killers. You know, my dad was diagnosed pretty much Christmas Day, just before Christmas Day, and over the Christmas period with prostate cancer and quite an aggressive prostate cancer. So, you know, it's obviously something that's quite personal, and obviously when it hits home a little bit, you see these things, these fundraisers happen, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to give that a go, and I probably will continue to do that, because it's not just about kind of like making, you know, a bit of an effort for dad really. It's actually fundraising towards kind of research. I think one of the biggest things about prostate cancer is that they do maybe with other cancers, you know, like smear tests for women and stuff like that. There's no kind of, you know, pre-check with men. So, you know, like with dad's, for example, is that dad's probably had that evident for a while that we wouldn't have known about. You know, it was only then when kind of obviously he was having issues with his prostate that it was identified. So the good thing about prostate cancer is that they're looking at obviously trying up the research, then be able to do pre-checks, which would, you know, catch these things earlier. You know, but, you know, from a personal point of view, you know, it hit dad a bit hard at first, and he's been struggling health-wise, but he's in a really good place now. So, and he's a fighter like we all are, and, you know, it's good because the kind of response I've had from the football community, obviously my work community, and also friends, has been fantastic, and that's why it's so good to kind of have a football community and a football family, because it's been a majority of those people who've raised the 800, I think it's 65 to date, you know, which is fantastic. So it's great, and a lot of people know Dad. Obviously, he's been around, he's come and watched the women, he invests a lot and enjoys it, and I'm hoping to see him back out on the sideline, you know, if not this weekend, next weekend hopefully, so he can enjoy it again.
Yeah, congratulations on that massive amount, absolutely. And if people are listening to this and they would like to donate, what's the easiest way they can do that?
Yeah, I'll post it on my Twitter page and my Facebook page, and the links are on there. And, you know, it's not. Some people have, you know, politely given, you know, £100 donations, and that's incredible. You know, the Morans and the Harrises, you know, have given a lot, and Andy Bullingham and people like that. But, you know, £5 is just as good. You know, so you know, £1 is great. It's just putting towards that cause. So I appreciate anybody who puts anything. Really, it's a big thank from me.
Absolutely, yeah. Let's talk about the Worcestershire County Cup. So the semi-final is upon us, Sunday the 16th of March. It's going to be at the Sixway Stadium. You're no stranger to big occasions. Can you see another big turnout on this one?
The difficulty is with Sundays, like we know really, is that everybody plays. So your kind of football community tend to either have games. So I'm hoping that anybody who hasn't got games or who are neutral fans would look and see Kidderminster versus Worcester in that semi-final at Sixways as a biggie really, and that's one of the reasons why we reversed it. We couldn't get Agborough for the occasion. It was obviously an home draw, but Sixways is amazing. It's a 4G pitch as well, which is great. So it's stadium, big occasion, you know, us v Worcester, semi-final of the County Cup. I'd have preferred it to have been the final, of course, but it's what it is. And a great test for our group again, and an exciting one, and similar to the kind of, you know, the FA Cup run we've had. We were hoping to make it another big occasion. You know, there's no doubt about it, won't be easy for sure.
You've had a while to prepare for this game since the draw was completed. Have the team had much chance to get excited about this one yet, or has it just been in the back of their mind with the amount of league games that they've had in recent weeks?
Yeah, in all honesty, John, we haven't thought about it. We haven't been able to, and we shouldn't really, in all honesty. It's been part of our kind of, you know, short-term goals in terms of what we're looking at. I remind the girls, you know, 9 games left now of the season, including that one, but we can't. Everything we do, you know, the focus this week has been Burton. You know, the focus last week was Harvey Church. That's the focus at the moment. The biggest thing for us is the league. You know, we found ourselves again in a position at Christmas where we've had a really good run and we've put ourselves in contention for promotion. So, and that may not have been the case at the start of the season. So, our only focus has been the weeks ahead. Every game in this division is tough. We saw that, you know, last weekend against Harvey Church. We were really made to work for that victory and those 3 points. And there's not been many easy games, in all honesty. So we have to focus week by week, and that's what the girls have been doing. So it's been purely league for me. I've seen Worcester, and I have been working on behind the scenes. Of course I have, but our focus has purely been on the league. So no excitement yet. Bit of a break from the league and a huge game next Sunday.
Yeah, I want to touch on your league campaign shortly. Just regarding Worcester City, you'll be up against two players who've played under yourself for many years at your previous club, Esme Harris and Jess Bates. What are you expected to see from this Worcester team?
They'll be well coached. We know that. It's a good setup. It's a great setup, as a matter of fact. What Worcester, do for women's football, the facilities, they're backing the project as it is, and the manager, the coaches know what they're on about. So they'll be really organised. And then you mix that with good players like they've got, Ez and Jess will be great to see. Players like Liv Meacham up front. We know a lot about the players. Their players are in and around tier four for sure. A lot of them step down from tier four. Those players, even a bit like we're doing to get promotion up into 4. So they're going to be a well drilled, organised team. I think it's exciting. I really do. I think it's a great matchup. I think it's going to be a team who's fighting for promotion at the top of tier 5 against a team who's fighting for to stay in the league at tier 4 in a relegation battle. But there's full respect from us, and we know it's going to be a really, really tough challenge. Worcester are going to be used to facing tier 4 teams week in, week out, and teams of good quality, so that they're going to know how to play against us, and it's going to be a really interesting game. Really looking forward to it, but full confidence in my group. I think we've got a really strong team, and I think Worcester will know that, and I think if they don't, good luck to them, but I think they'll know that they're in for a really, really tight competitive game, and for sure it's going to be exciting. I'm really looking forward to it, in all honesty, and a good test for us. We're setting a group of players for tier 4. A lot of the players have played tier 4, but a few played tier 3, but we're setting that group ready for what if we do get to promoted to tier 4. So this will be a really good test for us.
I totally agree, and Switch Sport Radio will be covering that match as well, won't they? So that'll be exciting for us. You personally, you're no stranger to winning teams in the league above you, and we've seen that this season in the FA Cup as well. Do you feel this season you've recruited players that thrive on that challenge instead of maybe being scared of it?
Yes, along with the side that I've recruited players who are by far capable playing at tier 4 and probably playing top end of tier 4, in all honesty. I could go through the spine of the team. I could go through the whole squad that we've built this year, and majority are tier 4 players without a shadow of a doubt. There's no doubt about that. Hence our league position, but hence the division we're in. I could say that for Lye's team. I could say that for Shifnall's team. Alvechurch. You could go right the way through it, really. Tier 5 is full of players who could play tier 4, and that's the growth of women's football and the excitement of it. But for me, we were frail at the start of the season. Our results showed that. In the first game of the season, in all honesty, I don't make excuses. I didn't make excuses at the time, and Shifnal were by far a better team than us when we lost that first game of the season. But there was a lot of different context to the why we lost that game, that day, and we don't need to talk about that because we lost it, and we were aware of that reality that day. Not having a goalkeeper for a start doesn't help that situation. So there's a lot of context that day. But one of the biggest things, we were really naive as a group. We were really inexperienced as a group, and we lacked that bit of what's this all about? What's this new project? And that's been one of the biggest challenges for me, because the last time I was in management was with a group of players who just got what everything was about, got what every game was about, and that's not been easy to drill back into this group of players. And sometimes I still have to remind them of that, of how close you are, what it is we're doing, what is it about. This is not all just about, it's about excitement and fun and enjoying it, and it's a hobby, but actually there's a project behind it. And at first we didn't get that. The group didn't get that. There's a lot of young players coming in. They didn't understand what's this guy harping on about passion and togetherness and believing and creating moments and making memories and all that kind of stuff. Who's this guy who's, what's he doing? What's he on about? But it's slowly come together, and that breeds results. And that's helped by your Mel Rogerses of the world, your Sophie Levick, your Amber Lawrences, your Alex Nicklins, your Lil Beths, your Alma Govens, who's experienced that previously with me. That filters them through into the rest of the girls who are going, what's this guy about? What does he mean? Passion, togetherness, and why does that matter in a squad when we've got so many good players? Well, it does, because actually you can have 16 great players, but if we don't work together, they don't understand the goals and the targets and the reason that we're fighting for each other, you're onto a loss. So it's took time to get to that point. That's my answer into your question, because it's players who've come and helped us and joined back up with me who thrive on everything that I thrive on, which is playing at the top end of leagues and working with a project that gets a club club into a league where they should be, and a group of players. I remind them every day, this is history for this club. This club have been trying, against me and the opposite side with Stourbridge, trying to get into the National League for years and years and years, and this group of players have got it in the palm of the hand to make history for them. So yes, there's a group there that absolutely thrive on what we're doing, but it's took time to get there, and bring in those extra additions as we have done throughout the season has massively helped that, for sure. And it's not just the Stourbridge, the ex-Stourbridge players. I think about Beth Gallagher, who's been an absolute revelation for us. In my opinion, probably playing her best football, and she's just a breath of fresh air because she just gets it. She got it, and I saw it in the first training session when she came down with us. Everything about her is fight, determination, togetherness. That's the type of player that we want at Kiddie. So yeah, I hope that answers clearly there.
It does, Andy, and you've actually answered what I was going to ask you as well about the second half of the season being stronger than the first half. The amount of goals that you've scored this calendar year and the amount of goals that you've conceded has been phenomenal. So you'll be the first to acknowledge, Andy, that every game is important from now until the end of the season. But both games versus Light Town still to play. Those games have to be the standout, don't they?
They are, yeah. For neutrals, they are for probably some of the players. They are for the league, because I think people are saying that, that ultimately dictates the league. But for me, in all honesty, there's just 2 more games. I'll be treating them no differently to the way I'm treating Burton, the way I treated Alvechurch, because the league is just that type of league. Port Vale beat Shifnal 4-0 last week. Port Vale took points off Lye. I was as nervous as against Port Vale. The first game Lexi Harrison signed the week before, and how strong Port Vale already were. I was as nervous there. I probably will be about Shifnal and Lye, because every team in this league have just got something about them. We saw that at the weekend with Alvechurch. They played us. First game, we beat them 5-0. Ben's a great coach, and that's the other thing, is there's good coaches now at this level. Would have watched footage, been aware of the first game and made changes, and we pulled through with a 2-0 and a really hard battling 2-0, because they worked really hard against us. He made some changes. So, every game's going to be really tough, and that's my focus, really. Yes, the Lye games are going to be big, but I don't think we can put too much focus on that. I think we have to do what I've said, really, which is the 7 days ahead is the game that we've got at the end of the week, and that's the focus. And as Lammy put on a tweet, and I've used in my messages to the group, every game's a cup final, because you can beat Lye in 2 weeks' time, you can get points against Lye, draw, whatever, but the week after you lose against Shifnal, or you lose against Burton, or Coundon away, Coventry Sphinx away. They're really tough games. They're not easy. Both of those teams are going to be really tough, and we've played them at home. Playing them away is a different ball game in this division. So for me, every game is a cup final, Lye or not. The Lye ones will be exciting. There'll be a different, kind of bit of spin to it all, of course, because of rivalry and all that kind of stuff. But in all honesty, I'm not interested in that. I'm only interested in focusing on us and making sure we get positive results against them. Exciting, yes, but just another game for me as a manager and the staff. Hopefully the players see that, and the players will thrive off it. That 8 cup finals for them, and that's what's going to drive us.
And finally, Andy, I believe the deadline for registering new players at this level has now passed. So this is a team that you've now built to take you into the final stage of the season. How proud are you of the squad that you have built up this season since taking charge in the summer?
Well, I'm going to answer the latter first. I'm really proud. Listen, it's good when you've got so many fantastic relationships, and that's the key. Is within women's football, there's so many ins and outs, and players going, and sometimes you upset players because you don't give game time. But if you build relationships and build a togetherness, it helps you in the long run as a manager, because those players, whether they join you at the start of the season or they don't, they always will consider you. They'll always give you the time of day to have a conversation. And I managed to pull players over very early on, but some players, we still wanted to kind of give it a good shot at Tier 3, and when that hasn't worked, or Tier 4, and then when that hasn't worked, they've kind of looked at Kidderminster, and it's allowed us to build a squad that we've built. You look at Mel Rogers and Grace and players like that, they're just game changers. Mel Rogers is just an exceptional player, and the dynamic she gives us is fantastic. So it's changed a lot of the way that we've been able to play, and it was one thing that we acknowledged very early on, that we maybe not as clinical as we needed to be. We needed somebody who could score goals and hold up play as well, and we needed to add that, and we've done that as the season's gone on. The reason I've answered it that way is because actually the deadline's not done yet. It's not done and dusted yet, and you never know in 7 days, but it's not going to be an easy process with a 7-day notice period, and whether teams will play ball with you on that. So we will see. I'm happy with my squad regardless. Anything we would add now would be just a bonus to get over the line, but there's lots of kind of ins and outs we have to play ball with and be mindful of. We've taken players from other teams, especially the divisions above, that we're fully aware of in terms of legislation and the requirements with the league. So, but I'm absolutely, I'm having to leave players out every week really and rotate, and because we're really strong, and I feel like when I do rotate, I'll bring other players in and they step up and do just as good, and I've seen games where we're kind of 2-3-0 up and we make changes and we end up 4, 5, 6 because those players that are coming on just bring us a new lease of life and change the game in their way. So I'm really pleased with the squad. We're building a squad for 4. There's no doubt about that. We've got 7 to 8 players who are 19-year-olds, are smashing it on the pitch, smashing it in training, and are ones for the future as well. And keep reminding them of that. They're kids and they're young and they've got plenty of years left of them, and we've got them in our ranks. So what they're going to be like when they're hitting 21, 22, 23, and that's the exciting bit really. So for us, we're building for 4 with this group. I don't intend to go, if we get to 4, I don't intend to go into 4 and ship out what we've got and bring in you. I want to take this group and establish ourselves in 4 and enjoy it. So it's an exciting time for us all, and the players know that. They know my stance on it. There'll be some comings and goings, very, very small amounts, and that'll be just to strengthen the group and make sure we're in a good position, whether it be this season or next season.
Switch Radio Sport. This is Switch.